Man, got a good one today.
Let's do it.
Uno, dos, tres. Welcome to the Roar. This is Manna.
It's Franco.
Today's subject's on happiness. The title of this video is called, what is the title called?
Happiness. One emotion that will save your life.
Oh man, that is a good one.
One emotion.
One emotion that will save your life is happiness. That emotion in itself is an amazing emotion to have to help with any type of fight of depression or fear. You gotta tell the story. Even like losing someone. Franco has a great story on how he uses the happiness towards someone to actually bring himself happiness, and you gotta tell that story.
All right, so I have a story where me and my wife were going through some rough patches, and in my philosophy, it's advice if you have any grudge or hatred with somebody to do a self-reflection for their happiness. So that's what I did. I did a self-reflection for my wife to have a happy life, for her to be the happiest person that she can be, whatever that may be. If she goes to meet another guy, if she leaves me, it doesn't matter what that is. If my intention was just for her to become the happiest person, and that kind of turned things around where I was able to reflect on myself, and then her attitude towards me kind of changed as well. She's like, oh wow, maybe she felt that I want her to be truly happy.
And you know what else I think also is like people sense like when you give someone a thought, a prayer, a wish to be happy, it's kind of a freeing thing. They can sense like, hey, you're not afraid to lose me. I think that's it as well, dude. Mm-hmm. Like to say to someone like, hey, my significant other, because we all have that beautiful person in our lives at one point in our lives, and we don't want to lose them. So what we do is we grip them. You know, instead
you're mine.
Yeah, you're mine.
You're not
Nobody
going
else.
anywhere.
I can't share you.
So they
So
feel
what kind of
caged.
happiness is that? What kind of Instead, you actually chose to give her happiness, like whatever it is, which is tough, dude.
Yeah, that's hard.
To say, even if you want to leave me and go be with someone else, and that makes you happy, by goodness, go be happy. That's what I wish. And in turn, it's a weird feeling, like it makes you feel happy that she's happy.
I was able,
and
to
you
free,
are happy.
I was able to free myself.
Yes.
Like I don't have to have this feeling of like, ugh.
Story in itself, when you told me that story, you were wishing your wife to be happy, even if she wants to leave one day. Like, that's so stellar, because it leads me into my story. What happens if that person suddenly leaves? Like, you lose a loved one, a child, a parent, or a sibling. What if they suddenly leave you? You could still apply what he did in his instance, and actually allow or even consciously and emotionally send happiness to that person, that they've left the human body, and wish them happiness outside of the human body, if you believe that. But even that, you should be happy that they're outside of their body, not in their body, even if you don't believe that they're not in the human body, which is a source of suffering, in a way. A lot of just living is suffering, because you age. This is what you get.
I think it's the same aspect too, right? So with relationships, with me and my wife, me holding on to her and not wanting her to become the happiest that she can be, meaning like she can leave, she can go somewhere else, and then in relation with you, like with your mom, you're holding on.
Well, what it is, we were best friends, and to have her suddenly walk out, and trying to change my attitude on knowing that it's a better place that she's in. Actually, trying to get within my cells of my own emotions, and you know what, wherever it is, I know she's better off outside of the human body. That got me to my happiness. That actually, a story helped this morning when he told me this. Is I gotta sit down and do that work. Like, this is work to get to my happiness, to save my own personal life, not to be selfish. What I'm saying is just holding on to all this pain. She passed in 2002, and I really got to sit down later on this week and deal with getting to a happy place with her being outside of my life. Thanks to my daughter, bringing her into my life, her being born in the last 10 years, really turned my life around. Like, so, yeah. That's a tough one, man. I got to sit down and do some work, and because suddenly people are going to leave out of your life, and what do you do unless you've got to wish them well? On top of, like, you're still here too. You deserve to be happy.
I think wishing, I think that's a very clear word, like, that you can apply. Wishing them well, like wishing them well.
Yeah.
I like that, man. Wishing them well.
Yeah. Another thing too, by becoming a parent, 10 years ago, my daughter's 10 now, it forced me into growth. Like, even now I took on another higher role in work, and I have more responsibility. The growth aspects, that would also help that is number 3. The third point we want to talk about is growth. That is a form of happiness.
Yes.
Like, if you have a good spouse, a good girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, and that's intact, your parents are still alive, and you have a good relationship, maybe you should focus on, like, as far as like getting to the happiness, are you growing? Like, either you have to check the areas of your life, like, is the type of work you're doing, is it stimulating? Is it truly making you happy? Like, you don't want a job that you gotta like, I gotta go to work today. No, it's like when you're there, you're utilizing the talents specific to you, not to your mama, not to your dad, not to your best friend. One of the things you could do as well is check your environment. Just like in growth, as far as like your career, you could probably check your environment. Like, what is it in your environment that you need to change? Like, after a while, things get very, what do you call it? When you're in a area, things get stagnant. So maybe you need to rearrange the furniture. Maybe you need to move out of the actual area that you're in that is bringing out this old behavior, old patterns, all these mental patterns. Maybe you just need to leave that environment, whether it's your home, your area where you grew up. Maybe you need to move to another country. Maybe that's what it is, what I mean by environment. Maybe you need to throw out all the furniture. I don't know. Whatever it is.
Happiness. You
have to address what makes you happy and what doesn't make you happy. So, being a parent, I let my kid know, don't do that because you're gonna piss me off. AKA, you're not gonna make me happy. So, identify what makes you happy and identify what doesn't make you happy, and avoid the things that doesn't make you happy. So she avoids, not to be like a mean parent, I'm just saying there's certain things you don't do around me. And you really need to stand for what makes you happy, at the same time identify what doesn't make you happy and address it. So unless you address the things that are making you unhappy, you're not gonna be happy.
Think about what makes you happy too, and or what destroys you. So
correct.
So if you have, maybe alcohol or drugs, it makes you happy for that instance. But if it's gonna destroy you in the long haul, I don't think you're gonna be a happy person.
That's a tough one, dude, because I had to look at alcohol. You're right. I had a friend recently passed a couple weeks ago, young, 41, and I can't drink in the house no more, dude. I really had to look myself in the eye. I'm like, is my life that depressing where I have to drink by myself? And I was like, I'm not going out like that, And it does wear on you. Eventually, that quick feeling, that instant gratification, because alcohol is a weird thing. It brings you happiness quick because it affects the mental concepts of your brain, the chemicals. And next thing you know, you're free, you're like happy because you shut off some of the worry sense in your brain. But the consequences later is depression.
Yeah, it's a downer.
If you do this thing every day, here's another thing, dude. Generating happiness, how do you do it? I think you gotta make time. You have to make time for yourself. And it's work you have to do on yourself. Like I was just telling Franco, I have to go to work on myself to deal with these deep-rooted feelings that I have from the past, which was years ago. Getting to that place, but you have to take the time.
And I was in that pattern too. Work, eat, sleep. Work, eat, sleep. It's like, no, self-care is like,
Self-care is kind of work though. It's like you gotta make time for it.
Yeah, you have to.
It's not easy like saying, hey, I'm gonna wake up every day, and whatever your practice is, chanting in Buddhism, praying as a Christian. Muslims do the pray in the morning that way, east and west. Yeah. They do it like 3 or 4 times a day, dude. So whatever your practice is, do you take time? It takes time. It takes work for you to actually get into that habit. But I think if you can build up to it, it won't be work. But still, I think just a reminder, being in the culture where it is, they know, where's the reminder to do this? A lot of people are turned off by a lot of religions, dude. I mean, some Muslims never practice anymore. Some Christians don't practice no more. Some Buddhists don't practice anymore. Yeah. It's been a real turn-off, like, from people to really take care of your self-care. You know what I mean? So you don't even have to label yourself a religious type person, but...
I mean, if you don't have a religion, that's your religion. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
We all worship the God called money. The physicality of your human body. So if you're doing alcohol, which is a depressant, but you got to check the food you're intaking. Are you eating cheeseburgers every day? French fries, caffeine, over caffeinated stuff, sodas, over stimulating. These things are actually all going to drag you down. Are you exercising? When's the last time you did like 3 hours of exercise? I did 3 hours yesterday. Did you exercise today? Yesterday?
All right.
Oh, see, there you go. Increasing the chemical, that's what we got to talk about too. Happiness is also created by your physicality, aka your human body. So if you're just sitting on a couch, gaming all day, watching Netflix all day, eventually this is going to take a toll. You were meant to move. Your human body is a machine and it needs to move.
That relates to the topic that we were saying, and it's growth.
Growth.
If you're on the couch,
yes,
for the whole day, there's a little bit of growth happening.
But there's so much reward sitting on the couch. You get to binge watch every show. Like you get to binge watch 4 seasons of whatever. Well, we'll catch you on the next video. This is Manna.
Franco.
Round 2, get to your happiness. Remember, focus on everything. Your human body, your exercise, your career, your mental health, maybe, and I think the big key on this one is you get what you give. Give happiness to those around you and it'll come back within you. Deuces.
Peace.